sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. May all be happy. May all be free from diseases. May all see only goodness everywhere. May no one suffer from misery. May there be peace everywhere by God's grace. Good evening, friends. The subject of my talk this evening is spiritual initiation. That is a word which is very easily understood in a country like India. Spiritual initiation. That is called in Sanskrit mantra diksha. Some holy word a person is given to chant with the impression that this chanting will eventually help that person experience his or her inherent divinity. This is spiritual initiation. Why is it called initiation? Because it has to start somewhere. And to have that experience, one has to go to a teacher. In India, where we were boys about 10 years old or so, then we had to go through a ceremony. It is called Upanayanam ceremony. That means at that time one had to make the resolve that he or she should obey certain rules. First thing is to look upon all women as mothers and as fathers as teachers and the teachers as also something like manifestation of divinity. And of course, the first and foremost thing is that one has to learn to be truthful. Truthfulness. And to remind the young man, his thread is like a garland is put around his neck by the teacher and said, this will remind you that these are the things you have to do. You have to be truthful, you have to look upon all women as mothers and fathers as gods and teachers as God also. And eventually you will get to know that you are divine. Hinduism teaches that everything is divinity. God is everywhere. All theistic religions also teach the same thing. God is everywhere. Then is God present in me? Yes, God is present in me. What about the non-living objects around me, like tables, chairs, books? Is God there in those things also? The answer is yes. God is equally present everywhere, but not equally manifested everywhere. If you look at me, you can see that behind me there are two pictures. Pictures of Ramakrishna and Sri Sarada Devi. both are considered divine incarnations. That means they are like multi-trillion watt light bulbs. Divinity is so much manifested in them. And a non-living object has the same divinity, but manifestation is almost zero. If a person has manifestation of divinity in him or her, just as a light bulb, in it you have a manifestation of light. Sometimes it is a 1000 watt light bulb. Then that light bulb will be considered a human saint. That light is divinity. And a divine incarnation is a multi-trillion watt light bulb. As much divinity can be manifested through a human form, you can see that in a divine incarnation. This divinity has to be awakened, so to say. And that's why that ceremony is there, called spiritual initiation. That means somebody has to tell you that you are divinity itself and you have to manifest it. When we are young boys, as I have told you, and we had our Upanayana ceremony, then we were asked to chant a holy statement called Gayatri Mantra. The word mantra means something which will liberate you from some kind of bondage. The bondage is that idea that I am a human being. But we are all divine beings. So, Gayatri Mantra, in Sanskrit, Om Bhur Bhuva Swatat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyoyana Prachodayat Om. That divinity which is present in all the planes of existence, this earth plane, then the plane that we call heavenly plane, and there is some plane in between that is called Bhuvarloka. So one who is in charge of all these lokas or planes of existence. I salute that divine being with the prayer that he enlightens me, gives me spiritual enlightenment, helps me to know that I am divine. So this is the meaning of the mantra, Gayatri Mantra. We are taught that when you are about 10 years old. And you would go on chanting that mantra. Did you all experience that you are divine? Not necessarily, but this chanting helps a lot. It helps in gaining control over the mind. Later a time came when I wanted to have the help of a saint who would help me to experience my divinity. Gayatri Mantra is a prayer only. But I wanted someone, a saint, who would teach me how to manifest that divinity. This is called Mantra Diksha. spiritual initiation. And the teacher would give a mantra. When I had my spiritual initiation, I had it from that saintly Swami called Swami Vishuddhananda of the Ramakrishna Order. In fact, I had seen myself being given spiritual initiation by Swami Vishuddhananda in my dream. But I did not want to act upon my dream, thinking dreams are after all mental fantasies. But eventually, due to circumstances beyond my control, I had to go to him and have that spiritual initiation. Then a thought came just before he gave me the mantra, which will help me to experience divinity. Before he gave, I thought, well, I've been chanting Gayatri mantra and it has become automatic. Without any, effortlessly my mind goes on chanting it. So my Guru will give me, Guru in my case it was Swami Vishuddhananda, he would give me some other mantra, some other holy name of God which I have to chant. Then perhaps my mind won't allow that mantra to be chanted because it has become used to chanting the Gayatri mantra. But my fear was ungrounded. Yes, when he gave the mantra, then strangely enough, my Gayatri mantra was no longer automatic. That new mantra became automatic. That means the Gayatri mantra helped, that chanting helped me to gain control over my mind. Since then, my mind automatically goes on chanting the holy name of God, which was given by my Guru. And that holy name is no ordinary holy name. Such holy names are called Siddha mantras. Such holy names which have helped others to experience divinity. Only such mantras are called Siddha mantras, special holy names. That's why I think Sri Ramakrishna said to a person who had come to him, and his question was, what was the goal of human life? Sri Ramakrishna said, the goal of human life is to experience divinity. But how? That man asked. And Sri Ramakrishna said, you should chant the holy name of God and have the company of those who do likewise. That is company of the holy people. Holy name. So, in spiritual initiation, the holy name of God is given. And such a holy name which is extremely effective. To give an example, let us suppose that there is a person whose name is John. He had his wife with him and he has a son. And then John starts suffering from some kind of tummy ache, stomach pain. So he went to see the doctor. And the doctor said that he had cancer in his stomach. That scared him because he thought that there would not be any treatment for cancer. That's how it was. So he came home and he was very upset. His wife asked him why he was so sad. Then John said that, well, I have some disease which will not be cured. And to comfort him, his wife said, no, he will get cured. His wife was a little devotional type. By God's grace, he will be cured. And then John's son also asked his father why he was upset. Then he said, well, I have a disease which cannot be cured. Then the boy said, no, Daddy, you will be cured, you will be all right. But their words do not remove his sadness. Then the best oncologist, cancer specialist of the country, visited the town where John was living. And John was lucky to have an appointment with him. And that oncologist examined John and said, you are one of those lucky ones who will get cured. You will get cured. Don't worry. Your treatment will cure you completely. Now, this oncologist and John's wife and John's son, they said more or less the same words, you will be cured, you will be cured, you will be cured. But whose words will have maximum effect on John's mind? Well, the oncologist's words. So such words are called like Siddha mantras, the special power. Only such mantras are given to a disciple by a guru during spiritual initiation. There are proven effectivity, these mantras. Because chanting of a holy name purifies the mind. Thinking of holiness makes the mind pure and holy. Because all our thoughts get stored up in our minds. Not a single thought is lost. A person's mind is the repository of all the thought that he or she has thought. That's why you can remember what you drank in the morning, tea or coffee, because that thought is there. You call it memory. Then you revive that memory. So every thought that we think is stored up there. And the cumulative effect of those thoughts will be there in the mind of a person. These thoughts, holy thoughts, have to outnumber other thoughts which we are thinking of. Well, when I was born nameless. But then a name was given to me by my parents. And when I joined the Ramakrishna Order, another name was given to me by the monastic order, Bhaskarananda, to teach me that names are superficial. We, as divinity, we are beyond name and form. This world is a world of name and form. But divinity is beyond name and form. It is one alone, ekam eva advitiyam, one without a second. That is divinity. The concept that we are individual beings, that is a wrong concept, that is not correct. That's why Sri Ramakrishna said to that person who wanted to know what was the goal of human life. The goal of human life was to manifest that divinity. Manifestation. It is already there, but not manifested. It has to be manifested. And spiritual initiation is an effort to help manifest that inherent divinity. And this chanting of the holy name also helps in mastering mental concentration. Holy Mother Sri Sarda Devi, who was a divine incarnation, she said to someone, if someone had come to her and complained that he could not concentrate his mind on God, then she said, you perform this chanting, it is called in Sanskrit japa, chanting of the holy name of God, 10,000 times every day. Then you will see tangible results, 10,000 times. Yes, its effect will surely be there. This mantra should outnumber other thoughts, which according to one Swami who was in this country, his name was Asaktananda Swami, he said, we fill our minds with garbage. Garbage means while watching TV or reading the newspaper and so many other things, all these ideas come to our minds. And they remain there. According to Swami Asaktananda, such thoughts which are stored up in the mind, they are like garbage. They have to be outnumbered by the holy thoughts, which one is asked to chant at the time of spiritual initiation. So one has to do it. And such chanting transforms people. I have seen such people in my life. I used to be in the Shillong center of the Ramakrishna Order when I first joined the monastic order. And there was a lady who lived close to our neighborhood. She was a very wealthy lady. Her name was Mrs. Das. Very wealthy lady. And she had a son. She was easily of cheerful nature. But then her son got married, and unfortunately Mrs. Das could not get along with his son's wife, daughter-in-law. And then she became very upset and sad. And with her sad face she used to come to our temple sometimes. Then she heard of Swami Vishuddhananda. Swami Vishuddhananda visited our Shillong center, and then she was lucky to have spiritual initiation from him. Then a radical change came to her. Her sadness was gone. She would come to the temple and sit on the front steps of the temple, and was so happy to see others coming to the temple also. And she used to say, we all belong to the same divine family. She used to say, Mrs. Das, I saw this change come to her. Her sadness was not there anymore. Then eventually I was transferred from there to the headquarters of the Ramakrishna Order, which is near Calcutta. And then I got to know other monks also. And there was one Swami whom I highly respected. His name was Swami Krishnatmananda. He was renowned for his truthfulness. Whatever would come out of his mouth would come to be true. He was that kind of a saintly monk. And he knew me quite well, because for a while he was in the Shillong center of the Ramakrishna Order when he saw me. And so it was that time when I had been sent to work in the West To Seattle I was sent to work here, to serve the children of God in this country. But I got the opportunity to go back and visit the country also, due to the generosity of some people who would pay my fare to go. We don't take any salary, that's why that was a great gift. And then once during my visit to our headquarters, which is near Calcutta, that place is called Belur Math. Swami Krishnatananda Swami came when I was visiting, and he said to me, he would call me Jyoti by my pre-monastic name. Out of affection he used to call me, Jyoti, I am going to see one gentleman whom you must know. He is Mr. Mukherjee. He used to live close to our Shillong center. He used to work for the government or something, and then he had a young son, and he would bring that son sometimes and enter the temple. But he would almost walk over other people who were sitting on the front porch of the temple to go and salute the deity. But he would walk over them. He didn't have that finer consideration that it was not proper. Yes, Mr. Mukherjee. Then it seems he went back to Calcutta after his retirement. And so Swami Krishnatananda said, you know Mr. Mukherjee, so I'm going to see him. So he took me by a car to Mr. Mukherjee's home, which was in Calcutta. It was a large house, but he was the sole inhabitant in that house. He had a servant, but his wife was not alive anymore. His wife also had initiation from Swami Vishuddhananda, and so also Mr. Mukherjee. And then when I saw Mr. Mukherjee, I couldn't recognize that person. He was a completely transformed person. He insisted on our staying there for at least 1 or 2 hours. And all the time he was talking about God, about Sri Ramakrishna. And he said that his wife, while dying, was chanting the holy name of Sri Ramakrishna. That's what Mr. Mukherjee. This transformation came to him through spiritual initiation. He had chanted the mantra millions of times, and that transformed him completely. That was Mr. Mukherjee. There are many other examples also. But these are some examples which are within my experience. And I have read that one of those great saintly disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, whose name was Niranjan, eventually he became a monk and he got the name Niranjanananda. So Niranjan, when he was a young man, he came to see Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna was in that place called Dakshineshwar Temple Complex near Calcutta. He used to be one of the worshippers there. And Niranjan came there. Then Sri Ramakrishna asked him to come close to him. He saw the spiritual potential of this young man and said to him, this is a mantra, you chant it. And then Niranjan went on chanting that mantra. And within one day, that mantra became automatic. He could not get rid of chanting. He went on chanting. His mind, body, everything was chanting that mantra. He used to work outside, but he could not go to work. And something inside him was urging him to go on chanting. He could not sleep. He didn't even want to sleep. So after 2 days or so, he felt that it would be impossible for him to be in the world if this chanting goes on inside him. So he decided to go back to Ramakrishna. And when he went to Ramakrishna and told him about his problems, Sri Ramakrishna just touched him with his finger. And then he became a normal person again. So Sri Ramakrishna would give spiritual experience through touch. That's what he had once asked the Divine Mother, Kali, to grant him. Mother, I don't want any occult power. Just give me the power so that when I touch anybody, that person's dormant spirituality would be aroused. That's what happened. So when he would touch people, that person, they would feel that spiritual power coming to them. That's what had happened to Niranjan. So spiritual initiation means the beginning of spiritual practice. And that starts with the chanting of the holy name of God. And also it starts with having holy company, others who are doing likewise. That's why Sri Ramakrishna said to that person who had come and with the question, what is the goal of human life? Sri Ramakrishna said, the goal of human life is to experience divinity. How to do it? You should chant the holy name of God and have holy company. Chanting the holy name of God. That is what one is asked to do during spiritual initiation ceremony by the teacher.